All right, we got the German Tyee out with us today. Had it for a while now. I've had it for a couple weeks, and man, it's a big, long travel bike. Really cool geometry, awesome suspension platform. Excited to share this review with you guys. Hey guys, I just got back from my ride on the Propain Tyee. This is their big dog carbon bike. It's 160 millimeter travel in the rear with a 170 millimeter Fox 36 fork. I'm on the 29er version in carbon. You can also get it in aluminum. Pretty cool bike. I'm on the $6,300 build. I don't usually talk too much about the group sets and stuff. It comes in a $6,300 build, a $5,700 build, and then one that's a little bit less money. There's a link down here in the description down below to go over to Propain Bikes, the USA version. But Propain's a bike company from Germany, and they just barely started selling in the United States this year in 2020. And I've been waiting for this Tyee. I was supposed to get this over the summer. It's now October 2020, and I just got it. Like I said, I'm on their highest end build. It's full X01 carbon, factory suspension, Fox suspension. However, for $600 less, you can get it with RockShox Lyric Ultimate and RockShox Super Deluxe rear shock. That's probably the direction I would go to save $600. I think that the RockShox is super good suspension. It was great riding the Fox stuff today too. This is like a big bike. I'm 5'8". 140 pounds on a size medium, and this bike feels like a big bike. You know, it has a pretty steep seat tube angle at about 77 degrees, and the head tube angle 64.5 degrees. Look up the rest of the geometry numbers and all the numbers in the link below just to get it right. But that's just the general, quick look at the numbers, and it feels like a big bike. It kind of has a longer stem than what most bikes I'm riding these days has. And I just feel that length. Particularly so there's this one section down Jacob's Ladder. It's about 3 minutes, and it's really high speed. You're just hauling the mail, going really fast. And the bike feels super stable, super composed. You feel good. And then you start to turn a little bit, and it feels a little bit like it doesn't want to just get into the turn right away. A little slow getting into that turn. It's an incredibly stable bike. I think that this bike would be better served being reviewed and ridden on some big lift service type ski resort type trails at a bike park. And unfortunately, I don't have access to one, and I always do all my reviews on these same trails. And I like that I do it on all the same trails, but sometimes I get a bike like this one where this bike is very purpose-built to go fast. I mean, you can feel how stiff the frame is. It's incredible. And it just is really stable at high speeds, and that's what it wants to do. It kind of reminds me maybe a little bit of the Pivot Firebird, or it even feels bigger than the Yeti SB150 to me for some reason. And we rode it on the slower speed trails too after that. Okay, well, we just got done riding that higher speed section of Jacob's Ladder. That's just really high speed, kind of wide open, and the bike is a tank. It just feels like it's a tank, just ready to go hammer. And you really notice that in the sections where it comes time to do a tight turn. Not like this is a really slow speed turn. I'm talking about high speed, tighter turns. You feel at that point you're kind of, I hate to say it, but you're kind of sitting on top of the bike a little bit. I think that this bike has a lot of stability. When I was going really fast, I felt stable, I felt good, really composed. I mean, obviously 160 and 170 millimeter fork, but there we go. Anyway, let's see how it does on this tighter stuff. It's kind of weird. You're able to move the bike around on the trail pretty easily. It's a pretty lightweight bike, but high speed going into some turns, it felt like it just wanted to keep mobbing, just going straight. And that's the type of person looking for the Tyee. This bike is like race bred, ready to go hammer some high speed downhill tracks. And that's what I would say this bike does. And the numbers suggest that from the get-go, right? That's just kind of what it feels like. In terms of climbing, I was surprised at how well it actually climbed for such a big bike. I've been recently spending a lot of time on the Rocky Mountain Altitude, which is a similar travel, 160 in the rear, 170 in the front. And you know, this scoots up along the trail just fine. I used the lockout there on that Fox X2 and moved it to the stiffer position or to the open position when I was descending. That certainly made a difference, and it's worth doing, I felt like. Other things to talk about is just it's a beautiful bike. It's just all the carbon looks awesome, all internally routed cables. It just looks really good. Speaking about the cables, just below the bottom bracket are the 2 cables for the rear mechanical derailleur and the rear brakes. And the cables are just getting really close to the chain, the chain path of the chain. And so, you know, it's a simple fix. It probably just needs some zip ties under there to zip tie them. I've seen that for years on all sorts of brands. Pivot used to do it. Santa Cruz used to do it. A lot of brands still do it. Rocky Mountain does it. And so it's not unusual to have the cables running underneath the bottom bracket there, but this one needs some zip ties. Otherwise it's going to get hung up in that chain, I'm afraid. So we talked about climbing, talked about descending. One thing to note also just on descending is that they have this really nice protective guard on that rear chainstay to keep the chain from slapping on the carbon frame. The only problem is that chain guide, or that, the guard there is made out of like plastic, like a heavy plastic. It's not rubber. And so, you know, it makes for a pretty loud descent. Once you start going really fast through really chundery sections of the trail, you can hear that chain slapping on that plastic guard. So much chain slap. Wow, was yours loud?
Yeah.
So it's doing its job in keeping the carbon frame, you know, from being damaged, but it's just echoing throughout that whole plastic piece. And so it'd be nice to see them change that to rubber or something. And then the other thing, I had the same complaint when I rode the Rocky Mountain Altitude recently, which is the seat tube height is so high that a size medium bike ships with a 150 millimeter dropper post. I've got enough room at 5'8" on a size medium that I could fit another, you know, inch or so of dropper on there, so I could get away with a 170 or a 175 dropper post. I would appreciate that. I kind of wish that the dropper post would go a little lower. Other things to note is, like, for a bike this big and as stable as it is at high speed, I mentioned this earlier, but it's surprisingly maneuverable. It's easy to move the bike around on the trail, more so than a lot of other bikes, you know, more so than the Santa Cruz Mega Tower or even the Yeti SB150. I would say this is more maneuverable. It still has those really stable, confidence-inspiring characteristics at high speed. But then on the slow speed trails, you know, it's easy to move around. One area where this is different than the Yeti SB150 is the 150. I really feel like I'm sitting down in the bike, and this I really felt almost a little uncomfortable a couple times because I felt like I was on top of the bike, kind of right on top of the bike. How much of that was the 150 mil dropper not letting me kind of get a little lower back here? I'm positive that was a part of that component. So I think there's enough room to send it with a little bit longer dropper post, but all in all, the price point is amazing. The aluminum version started at like $3,500, which is crazy because a lot of brands sell only carbon frames and a shock for about $3,500. So to get a complete aluminum propane bike, you know, for $3,500 is incredible. And then the next step up from there in the aluminum category would be the $4,700 build, which is identical to the carbon $5,700 build, just $1,000 less for the aluminum frame. So the other really nice thing about the Propain company is it's a direct-to-consumer bike. You just hop online. You don't have to dilly-dally in a bike shop if you don't want to, if that's not something you're interested in doing. Hop online. You can kind of customize it. You know, these are just graphics on here. Their stickers here are just graphics, so you can pick out different color graphics if you want. They've got 2 or 3 different color frames, which is kind of nice. I thought this one was a really good-looking frame. But the other thing is they have bikes in stock, ready to ship. Now, that sounds weird to say that that's a really good thing, but you'd be surprised at how many bike shops right now are struggling to get inventory. Through this whole COVID-19 thing that we've all been dealing with throughout 2020, it's been difficult to get supplies to put these bikes together for a lot of bike shops. Propain has a number of these ready to ship right now. Go to their website, the link's below. You can order from there and you'll get your bike. So a lot of other bike companies can't even say that much. So that's one really great thing about Propain right now. They got bikes ready to go. I hope this is a good review for you. If you have any questions, put it down in the section down below and I'll be sure to comment back and answer as many questions as I can. What a great time to be a mountain biker. So many good bikes out there. Propain from Germany over here in the United States. I rode their shorter travel 29er, 4 or 5 months ago, called the Eugene. Was an incredible bike. I would say for everyday trail riding, that is the bike I would choose over the Tyee. I would take that Eugene. I thought that was so much fun, so capable for all the trails that I ride. This bike's probably a bit much for my everyday riding. This deserves to spend some time at some more sketchy trails, maybe in a bike park, maybe with a rider who's willing to just send it down some 10-foot drops or something. That's probably not me, but still a lot of fun riding a long travel bike like this today. So, all right, hope this video was helpful, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. I also just want to say thanks to all the subscribers and the viewers of this channel. It's been a lot of fun riding so many different bikes, even unique bikes like this all the way from Germany. And one of the things that's really helped is the support that you guys have offered by clicking on the links in my descriptions down below. To the knee pads or the helmet that I wear, all that stuff is listed down below. When you make a mountain bike gear purchase using those links, it directly goes to benefit me and my channel and what I'm doing here so I can keep making more videos like this